everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and it is Tag Tuesday, and we are going to make this tag today. I was inspired by this tag that I found on Pinterest, and I will put these links in the description box below for both of these. But I had told you that I wanted to continue working with this Miracle Night paper, and so that's what I did. I went through and I found an image that would work best for this part, and then I pulled the papers back from what was in there. I did not add this down here in the bottom. I didn't scallop punch this bottom one. Skipped that part when I was going through it, but I think I like the way it turned out anyway, so I'm okay with that. So you're going to see me use the back of the cover. We're going to be using the printing in here for that. And then we're going to be using the other part of this paper that I cut Santa out of. And I've done some of the cutting ahead of time just because of the time constraint. And y'all know how to cut stuff. So I started out with cutting a 3x6 tag from a manila envelope. So that was our start. And then I went through and I used the layering circles dies from Stampin' Up. I do not think they're available anymore. If they are, I will link to them in the description box below. If you have a demonstrator that you work with, that's terrific. If not, I will leave you the link to my demonstrator, and my was originally my downline, Rhonda Henkins. So I used one of those, and then I also used this larger one to cut the mat from Cherry Cobbler. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this off and put this away, because if I don't, I'll lose it. I know me. And as I was cutting stuff, I piled everything into Mrs. Always Right coffee cup that my daughter gave me one year for Christmas, and then I promptly broke. I have pulled, I think both of these ribbons are from Stampin' Up. I know this one is. And any of the holiday ribbons from Stampin' Up are retired, because they retire at the end of the catalog. So I chose this one in the Cherry Cobbler and this cream seam binding. Because you'll notice in here, that's pretty much what they used. They used a check. Didn't have a gingham, but I had that one. Now this would have been cool if I'd had a gingham fabric that I could have used as well. I punched the hole reinforcers from Cherry Cobbler, and I think I have those down in here. I have my twine from Stampin' Up and my needle threader, and then there's the Santa Claus that was in there. And here is the piece we're going to put on him. Put him on just like that. Now before I did anything, I did edge this with my walnut stain ink from Ranger. Now I didn't come back and do this until after I had done the papers, so that I knew where to stop. I just did the edging on here. Somebody commented that they liked the fact that we were doing Christmas and it wasn't always the red and green. I love more the vintage tones for Christmas. Now let's see, I have a needle here I don't want to lose track of, so I'm going to stick it in my string for now. And then I have this rose, and I believe I got these from Recollections, I believe. These have been in my stash for a long time, so they're probably a Michael's. And then I used to have this stamp set from Technique Tuesday, and I had the squiggle lines, and I had this, and they're probably in a stamp in a Christmas kit somewhere. So didn't get to use that, so I went through my stamps for my Tim Holtz stuff, and I found this one was a 25-cent, and I thought that was perfect for Christmas. So we just clipped Lincoln out of the way. Okay, now let's focus on our background papers, okay? And I started with the paper that I cut Santa out of, and I needed to trim it down. The tag is 3 inches wide, so I need to trim this down to 2 3/4. And I'm going to go ahead and lop this off right here and get rid of that and cut this down to 2 3/4. I was almost there. Okay, and then it's going to come up to about the right spot, but I want to give it that tear. So I'm starting down about 1/2 inch, and I'm going to tear up to this other corner at an angle. And I'm keeping all these scraps in the envelope with that paper kit so that I have scraps for clusters later. Now, because this is white, I am distressing the edge on this torn edge, because if it was a cream core, I'd probably leave it the way it is. But since it's not a cream core, we're going to give it some color. Okay. And then this one's going to go right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and squishy it into place. I thought about using this black plaid, but it was really too dark for this, especially to contrast with the cream color of the vanilla folder. So we're going to take and set that right into there. Okay, remember, it's junk journaling. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, then this is where I brought in the words. Now, I don't want to use this because it's got Christmas on there, so I need to go through here and find another piece of that with words. This one I cut through, but I don't want to lose this image here. So it looks like I'm cutting into a full piece. I just have to flip through here and find the one that is on. Oh yeah, it's on this one. And I want to cut, this was 2 3/4, so I want it 2 1/2 by about 3 inches, 3 1/2 inches. So let's do this. I'm going to have to keep an eye on my time up here because I set my timer up, but I forgot to push start. That doesn't help. So I didn't want to lose this, so I'm going to cut this off right there. And then I'm going to cut above this. Actually, we'll leave that. We said 3 1/2 inches. So let's go up here to the 3 1/2. I'm going to go 3 3/4 for just a minute. I'd rather have a little much. And then we need 2 1/2. Okay. And that's going to give us our next layer. And that's right, but I want to tear this up a little bit more. So I'm going to come down here again about 1/2 inch. Give it that angle tear. And you know, for a little difference, let's do that punch on the end of that. Now they used a scallop. I'm going to use my lace punch from Martha Stewart. I'm going to lay that over there. Lay that over there. And make sure this one lines up and take that piece off there. Okay, and now we'll get rid of the crumbs out of the way. Okay. We need to dust this edge. Give that lace edge a little bit of a dusting. Okay. And then this is going to glue right there. We're going to come up a little bit. And I hope I didn't tear that too short because, well, that's okay. That'll work. We'll make it work. Okay. So we're going to squirrel this glue on. And you know, I knew about that scallop in the end because I got out my pearls to put on there. And we'll just give Santa a little color here. And scoot that over. Now I glued this flat to this circle, but then when I applied it to the tag, I raised it up on dimensionals so that it had a little extra to it. Okay, so before I put this in place here, I'm going to come back and I'm going to move my cutter so I can sit down. We have about 10 minutes left. And what did I do with my pearls? I left them out. Here they are. Let's go ahead and put our pearls in place. And I have a massive amount of these pearls from Stampin' Up. And I am going to add, we need 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to add a dot of glue, because although they're supposed to be adhesive-backed pearls, I don't trust them on the long term. And I want to use these bigger ones. So we're going to go right there. Now this glitter, remember this Tombow glue does dry clear, so we're okay with it squishing. My biggest problem is just getting these in place with my trimmers. Okay, there's that. Now I can put these away before I lose those. If you have access to these stamp cases from Stampin' Up, they are great for storing stuff in. Okay, now I want to come back and I'll do my dimensional. Now I did not use the bigger ones from Michaels. I used my regular dimensionals from Stampin' Up. I love these. And if you're familiar with Stampin' Up, sometimes they bring out embellishments that are made perfect for the dimensionals. They bring out embellishments that are made perfect for the dimensionals to fit in the center of. Either they're big ones or they're small ones. And I think that's kind of cool. Okay. Those are put away. I love having things organized again because I can put stuff away. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my papers off. Oops, I got glue on the end of my pokey tool and now my paper wants to stick. Okay. I am having a blast playing with Christmas. We are on July 4th as you are seeing this. And here I'm playing with Christmas. Okay, so now we can put this right in there, just like that. I also pre-cut the ribbon that said Merry Christmas and then promptly lost it on the desk. I'm not going to take a lot of time looking for it. If I have to cut a new one, I'll cut a new one. But it was here a minute ago. It may materialize. The one thing I do want to talk about is the snowflake that I put underneath this rose. And I actually glued some of that book paper from the Reader's Digest that we'd been working with. I glued it to some of the foil, or the vanilla file folder, and then I cut a Tim Holtz snowflake out. Now this is monstrously big, but I got this really cute extra piece, right? So I cut that out, but then what I'm going to do, and I got to have my cheaters for this. Oh, there's my ribbon. I knew it was here somewhere. I went through, and if you'll see where this is at right here, let me see what you're seeing. See this piece right here? I have punched out everything except that. I'm going to punch that one out, just like that. And then that becomes where I want to cut those off. So I do that, so that makes that the point of the snowflake. And I'm using just the inner layer of the snowflake to do this. And I went around and cut all these down first so that I had my point. Wasn't sure that one cut, it didn't feel right. And just cut these down alongside. Boy, there's a lot of points on this snowflake. Do you know how many points there are to a snowflake? Okay, now you see this tree here in the center? I just snipped it off all the way around. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we can just peel that off. And now we have a manageable size snowflake. Okay. So I'm dusting it again on the book page side. This is the part I'm going to pull up. Now also, cutting this from the book page down was a little tougher. So I went and I cut it from the file folder side, and I got a better cut. I did have to make the pass through my die cutting machine 3 times to get it to come up, but that was okay. Now, I'm using my craft glue for this because I come in with my craft glue and dot this on the back. Now, I could have used this part too, but I wanted the book page to be on the upside. So we're going to come in with that. And then I have my flower. And notice I'm just dipping my silicone brush in here. I love my silicone brush. Whatever glue doesn't come off my silicone brush, I can just leave that to dry and peel it off like a skin. And it's really cool. Okay, and then we can put that one on there, and it will take it just a couple of minutes to dry. While it's drying, I'm going to come back with my fabric scissors, and I'm going to cut a directional on here. I could do the snake tongue on here if I wanted. And this one is going to be really tight because I need to go past that S and not lose my S. And then I came back in with my craft glue, and I just put 3 generous dots of glue on the back of this ribbon, and it will hold this ribbon in place just like that. Okay. Okay, now we have that. Whoops. How are we doing on time? 17 minutes. We're good. Okay, I'm going to come back in with my standard paper punch and do that. And I think while I have this up, before I get the paper punch or get the hole reinforcer in the way, then I'm going to come through and I'm going to dust that corner a little bit. Okay? Because we're going to lose a lot of that when we put the bow in place, okay? Now, did I have the... I didn't. Okay, so get me a couple of hole reinforcers here out of the cherry cobbler with my 1/2 inch and my 1/4 punch. Just like that. Okay. And now, come back in. I probably should have done this before I put the rose in place, but you know. Get the skim off my glue so the glue will come out. There we go. And put that on there. My sister asked me the other day, what is this cover on my work table? This is a piece of clear tablecloth that I purchased at Walmart. It's not expensive, but it cleans up really nice, and I can still have my wood look underneath. Okay? Now that we have that, now I'm going to, oh, excuse me, I'm going to take my 2 pieces of ribbon. Oh, we forgot our stamp. Oh, where did we do? There it is. And I think I'm going to position it over on this other side this time. Just like that. I like that. I think I like that better over there. Okay. I'm going to put my ribbon through here, if I can get a hold of it. And this may be the one that gets us into trouble, but my Wi-Fi, or my internet, rolls back over this week, so this one can be a little bit longer. Now I have 12 inches of each of these ribbons, and I could have gone to 14 or 15 to give my bow a little bit more substance. But all I'm doing is tying both of them together, just like that. And then I'm going to come back and tie my bow. And you have to fiddle with it a little bit and make the ribbon do what you want it to do. Just, whoops, and I lost part of my bow. Trying to do stuff like this when you're on a time thing is really difficult sometimes. There we go. And I really wanted that with the belt, so I will come back and probably retie this at some point. Okay, then I took a length of this string, and I have another piece of that charm. There it is. I have these charms that I bought. I think I bought these at Hobby Lobby, I think. And you know, I started to worry about, you know, well, this wasn't from Spectrum Arts and this wasn't from Spectrum Arts and whether it can count in a challenge. I've decided I'm not worrying about that anymore. I'm going to make what I want to make from my stash. That was the whole point I gave up Stampin' Up, was so I could play with all my toys. So we are playing with all of our toys. And I got to get a hold of one of these so only one of these pulls through. There we go. And I put that on a thread so I could run it through my bow, just like that, from underneath. And it knows I'm on a time thing because it's really fighting with me. I'm going to figure out which string I'm pulling out of the needle, just like that. And then I can come through, and I should have left it on the needle. Should have left it on the needle really quick. Now tomorrow you're going to want to check the community tab. Remember that everything we're doing this month for our color challenge is inspired by artists. So you're going to want to check the community tab tomorrow to find out what you're going to want to use, have handy to play with our video on Thursday. And then Friday is going to be something inspired by Tina at Shabby Dabby Doodah. And whatever we use to inspire, I will link that video down below, just like I did last month with Joy Defy. Okay, then we have our bell on there. We can come back and snip these off. And if I feel that knot's going to be an issue, I can come back in with a little bit of glue and secure that. And there is our 2 Christmas tags inspired by, I'm going to believe maybe it's a Danish blog. So, remember to like, share, subscribe, and check out that community tab every Wednesday to see what's going on. Creative Christmas blessings.